Uh, a very good evening, everyone. And I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you all on behalf of FICCI Flow Kanpur chapter for this very required session, especially in these times, on happiness habits by the internationally respected spiritual teacher, Nithya Shanti. You know, they say happiness is not something you postpone for the future. It is something you design for the present. Replacing just a few key negative habits with a few positive habits can easily be the difference between being mostly unhappy and being happy almost all the time. While most of us are aware of Nithya's teachings, I would like to share a little about him before we begin. With an MBA from XLRI, Nithya had a promising corporate career, but was drawn to pursue his spiritual quest and was ordained as a Buddhist monk and went to live in the forest to learn and serve in ways broader than what the traditional role of a monk permitted. Blending a deep study of ancient teachings along with a rich harvest of contemporary learnings, Nithya Shanti specializes in facilitating profound shifts in awareness for people to realize limitations and awaken latent potentials for a balanced and fulfilling life. An interest in inner growth and spirituality from an early age inspired him to read many books and engage in long discussions with friends and teachers. Not content with intellectual understanding alone, he began a daily practice of meditation at the age of 16 and attended many meditation retreats. Through his diverse offerings and interventions, Nithya helps participants get in touch with themselves, leading the way to personal development and spiritual awakening. His light-hearted, informal manner and practical techniques paved the way for an experience that many have found to be life-changing. It is a privilege and an absolute pleasure to have you with us, Nithya. Thank you so much. Before I invite Nithya, I would like to invite FICCI Flow Kanpur chapter's chairperson, Kanika Ved, to share a few words, and then we'll begin the session.
Thank you, Aarti. It is often said that there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. A very warm welcome to everyone present here to Flow Kanpur's event on finding happiness. I would like to extend my gratitude to Nithya Shanti for accepting our invitation to help us navigate through the ups and downs of life and make the most of it. Thank you, Nithya. When we examine how an economy is doing, we look at the GDP per capita, growth, unemployment, inflation, and interest rates. Each indicator gives information about the status of the economy. Similarly, when we measure the quality of life, we examine different dimensions, such as cognitive and the affective dimension. Research shows these are all correlated to happiness. This can be seen in a country like Bhutan, whose holistic approach towards socio-economic well-being through the concept of gross national happiness helped in the way they handled the COVID-19 pandemic, proving the need for all of us to work on our happiness quotient. At Flow, we are working on helping women create a difference. Our members are women who work towards the advancement of their communities, ultimately contributing to a happier world. Are there times when we are not happy? Of course there are. Don't we wish to be happier more often? Who wouldn't want to? While it seems everyone is looking for the answer to the age-old question, what's the secret to happiness? The better question may be, is it possible to be happier? Yes, it is. And to know about this, let's invite Nithya Shanti to give us some practical insights into happy living. Welcome, Nithya.
Thank you, Kanika, and thank you, Aarti, as well. Lovely to be here with all of you. And since it is a video call, why don't we have some more of you put on your videos? We get to see your faces. So it's more like we are all meeting together. That'll be nice. Lovely. So I'm calling in from Pune today, and I hope you're all doing well with all the challenges with the current pandemic. A lot of people we are hearing are getting unwell. So a lot of family members that have to deal with that and take care of each other. So I hope you're doing well and you're strong and safe. Today's session will be quite a practical session. It'll be about happiness habits. How can we live more joyful lives, happy lives? Somehow this has been an interest of mine from quite a young age. I initially used to read books that had a lot to do with fiction, just books that were interesting and fiction. At a certain point, I shifted to nonfiction. I began reading biographies and lives of people that inspired me, and also books that had to do with how to be more effective as a human being. And so I was about 16 years old when I did my first meditation course. And it was very important to me because there was an important missing link. The missing link for me was, how come I know so much, but I'm not living it? How come I know, so I've read so much by now, but I'm not living it? And that was quite irritating for me, that I seem to know more than I'm living. And the meditation gave me a very important clue to that. And the clue is that it's not just enough to have knowledge. You've got to be able to digest that knowledge. And how do you digest it? By being more present. Instead of always thinking this and thinking that. Like, for example, you might have heard about a challenge. Many people have this challenge of procrastination. They know they should do something, but they don't do it. They keep putting it off, And so one of the best books on overcoming procrastination, it's called the 5-second rule. So what's the 5-second rule? So it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why is that? Because if you said I'll do it in 5 seconds, then that if you count forward, you keep on counting. 5, okay, 5 more. So you got to count backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get up and just do it. So the way to come out of procrastination is just count backwards from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just do whatever you got to do, whether it is sending that email or whether it is taking that walk or whatever it is. So there are certain insights that have come over the years about how we can live more effectively. And so I began applying that in my life. And so today I'd like to share with you some of the things that I found useful and helpful, especially around happiness. Let's start with the 4 kinds of happiness. The first is, of course, no happiness. This is when you think that your happiness is dependent on other people. When the kids finally listen, when the husband finally listens, when the maid comes on time, then I'll be happy, right? So that is called no happiness, because it's like giving your remote control of your happiness to other people and saying, press that button, and they press the wrong button. No, not that button, the other button. So that is a reliable way to not be happy. So when you hear people say, he's pressing my buttons, she's pressing my buttons, that means you've given your remote control to somebody else. So take back the remote control of your life. Nobody else should press your button. You're not a puppet. Other people should not make you dance around. It shouldn't be so easy to trigger you. So the first level of happiness is no happiness. Second level of happiness is happiness for a misguided reason. What's the misguided reason? When something happens, I'll be happy. When something happens. When I have more of something, I'll be happy. So it appears that when I have more of something, but just look in your own, examine your life right now. There might have been a time in your life and you thought, oh, when I have this kind of family, this kind of home, this kind of work, then I'll be happy. And maybe now you have it, but still not there. Now there's always something else, now something else. Now the kids have to go to a good school. Now this has to happen. Now we have to pay off that loan, and 2 cars aren't enough, 3 cars are needed. So we have to be careful of this more, the myth of more and the myth of when. When something happens, I'll be happy. If you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life, when that happens. So this is an outside-in form of happiness. It's happiness for a misguided reason. The third kind of happiness is happy for a good reason. So what's a good reason? Maybe you wake up in the morning and take a nice morning walk. That felt very good. You didn't harm anybody. You didn't hurt anybody. You came back feeling refreshed. Maybe you made yourself a nice, healthy, nutritious meal, whether it was lunch or dinner, and it felt really good. Yeah, it's got a lot of fresh vegetables. It's got some fruits. It just feels right for your body. It's not got too much processed foods. And the whole family seemed to enjoy that meal. That's happy for a good reason. You can't find fault with that, right? You did something, maybe you went and volunteered somewhere. You gave your time, you gave your skills. You came back feeling really good. I really helped someone, really helped people, really benefited. Like recently, my friend in Pune, he's setting up what might become the world's largest space for destitute people. India has a problem where especially two categories of people. One is the older elderly people, and the other is the orphans. These two categories of people really suffer quite a bit because they're quite helpless. So destitute people, abandoned people, people who have mental challenges. So he's setting up a place near Pune, which might become one of the world's largest places where these people are taken care of. So then a few weeks back, I went and I was helping out and I was serving food to the hungry people. So it was happy for a good reason, right? I didn't get anything from it, but it just felt very wholesome to go there and do something like that. It's called happy for a good reason. And there's a fourth kind of happiness that very few people are familiar with. It's called happy for no reason. So what's the purpose of today's session? To remind you about what is it to be happy for a good reason and what is it to be happy for no reason. In terms of levels of consciousness, some of you are familiar with this. In India, this is called Tamsik, Rajasik, Sattvic, and Nirgun. Tamsik, it's heavy, it's dull, it's full of inertia, full of victimization, feeling not good enough, feeling the world is against you. Everyone's against you. Second one is Rajasik. Rajasik is like a race, running. I should have more than the others. I should be bigger than the others, feeling inflated. So if you're constantly comparing, is my bag fancier than the other person's bag? Is my car better than the other person's car? Is my jewelry better than the other person's jewelry? Then you're a bit of a Rajasic mode. You're a bit of a race. I've got to be better. I've got to be better. There's no end to this race. Today you feel very good. I'm better than all the ladies in Kanpur. Then you go to Delhi and suddenly you find, oh, I'm nothing. Then suddenly you go to New York and you say, I'm nothing. So there's no end to that, right? No matter how much you get. It's very fragile because it's based on external signposts. So we want to come to Sattvic and Nirgun. Sattvic is very wholesome. It's based on, so the basic difference between Rajasic and Sattvic is, Rajasic is doing things for happiness, for joy, for peace. And Sattvic is doing things from happiness, from joy, and from peace. The fundamental difference. So when you do things for something, it's a hit or miss. You may or may not get it. You do it from that thing. That changes everything. So the big principle here is whatever your goal is, make that your path. Make the goal your path. Whatever your ultimate goal is in any aspect of your life, in your family, in your work, in your spirituality, whatever the ultimate goal is, make that the path. This is a very profound insight. And Nirgun is very fascinating. This is what I discovered when I was 16 years old. I went for this meditation course. And for the first time in my life, just sitting under a tree, looking at the leaves, I was happy. Like there's nothing there. There's nothing there specifically no one's appreciating me. Nothing very exciting is happening. But just sitting there, for the first time in my life, I tasted a very natural kind of happiness. And you're very fortunate if in your life you have, I think everyone's experienced it, but not everyone's recognized it. So it's important to not only experience it, but recognize what is it like to be happy for no reason. Happy for no reason. Just being. The happiness of being. Once you recognize this, once you've tasted this, then it completely reorganizes your life. No longer are you grasping for, oh, let me get a little bit more recognition, let me get a little bit more this and that. You're coming from a deep place of I am whole and complete. When you do something from a place of I'm whole and complete, whatever you create is also whole and complete. When you do things from a place of I am incomplete, then it has that little bit of a kida in it, incomplete. It remains incomplete. Whatever you do remains incomplete. The quality of the seed determines the quality of the fruit. Right? So today we'll be talking about the third and fourth kinds of happiness. Happy for a good reason and happy for no reason. Let me just share a few slides with you as we get started. All right, so this is all about, a very big part of today's session is about making friends with the person in the mirror. Because if you don't like the person in the mirror, no matter the whole world can praise you, but deep inside, you will not feel comfortable with yourself. So we have to learn to, in fact, if I have to give you a very short teaching, which I find particularly powerful, is that you look in the mirror every day and you take your name, like for example, if I was to look in the mirror, I'd say, dear Nithya, just for today, what if there's nothing wrong with you? So just say with me and replace my name with your name. Right? So repeat after me. Dear Nithya, you say your name. Just for today, what if there's nothing wrong with me? And since you're saying it, you can actually say what you're actually talking to yourself. So say it again. Dear Nithya, just for today, what if there's nothing wrong with you? Say it one more time. Such a simple thing, but really powerful thing. So if you want a very simple tool, it is to learn to say to yourself, what if there's nothing wrong with you? Because you can always find something wrong with you based on the standards of society, the standards of our current generation, the standards of Instagram. There's no end to what you can find is wrong with you. But what if there's nothing? What if you're made in imperfection, just the way you are? This is a very important principle. I like to start these sessions with gratitude. And for me, gratitude is the most powerful attitude. And more important than what you have in your life is how grateful you are. You can have a lot and still feel discontented, isn't it? So whatever you do have, if you're grateful for it, that's really, really powerful. Let's practice gratitude. What we'll do is we'll put the 10 fingertips together and we'll think of 10 things we're grateful for. Each time we'll open one lotus petal. And like this, 10 things we'll think of that we're grateful for. Just try this. Put 10 fingertips together. Close your eyes. Think of 10 things you're thankful for. Whenever you're done, bring your hands on your heart. Take a deep breath. You can open your eyes. I recommend we start our day like this. When you wake up in the morning, then instead of thinking of what is unfinished in the day, you start your day with what's beautiful in the day, what's beautiful in your life. And think of 10 things. And it's great if you can think of 10 different things, but more important than thinking of this and that is feeling the gratitude. So when you feel the gratitude, that's when the shift happens. Remember that when you're feeling something, you're communicating directly with your deeper mind, your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is images and feelings. So anything you do with a clear image and a clear feeling, you're working directly with your subconscious mind. One thing in general, I think you already know this, but it's worth repeating, is be conscious of your words. Be conscious about everything you say after I am. Because those words make a very big impact. Right. I remember I was attending a conference and there was a neuroscientist, a specialist in the brain. And he told us that in this conference, I overheard some of you say, I'm having a senior moment. In America, when you can't remember something, I'm having a senior moment. I can't remember what I was going to say. So he said, let me tell you, as a neuroscientist, even children forget a lot. Children forget a lot. They forget all the time, but they never say I'm having a junior moment. So when you forget, don't say, oh, I'm losing my memory. Say, it'll come. Something so simple, right? Just say it'll come. If you say, I am losing my memory, you're giving a powerful suggestion to yourself. So be conscious of everything you say after I am. Or galti se nikal bhi gaya if you said it also. I like to just say cancel, cancel. What is cancel, cancel? That doesn't count anymore. I had this funny thing, this friend of mine, she was a tarot card reader. And she is a tarot card reader. And sometimes she'd talk about, we're taking a long car ride, and she'd talk about some supernatural stuff, some ghosts and things. So immediately she'd say, this is just for information. This is not an invitation. I found that really fun. This is just for information. This is not an invitation. So now that she was so cautious of what she was saying, she's like, I don't want to say anything that invites anything into my life. The main point is be conscious of your words, because in the beginning, it may not matter, but as you go along, your words have tremendous power. So this is called Vak Siddhi and Vak Shuddhi. What is Vak Shuddhi? When you're saying words that are true and kind and beneficial, then that leads to Vak Shuddhi. And as you go along with Vak Shuddhi over a period of time, then you have Vak Siddhi. What is Vak Siddhi? Whatever you say tends to happen. You know, in the West, they say that the world began with light. God said, "Let there be light." But in India, we believe the world began through sound. The basic vibration is Om. In fact, there was an interesting debate between one of the Western religions and one of our Indian Swamis. So the person said, it says in our scripture that God said, "Let there be light." So the Indian Swami said, "Oh, God said." That means the word came first. So, but anyway, these are interesting debates. But the point is that be conscious of your words and let your words be in the direction of love and truth. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it beneficial? A few photographs of my time. I lived as a Buddhist monk for some years, just to show you a quick journey. When I was 23 years old, I became a monk. And I went to a monastery in Northeast Thailand. And I lived there as a forest meditation monk for about 6 years. So these are some photographs of my time there. We'd wake up early in the morning, about 3 o'clock. And then we'd meditate till sunrise. And then once the sun would rise, we'd take our bowls and walk to the neighboring villages. And the villagers are waiting there early morning. They like to start their day by giving food to the monks. So whatever food they made for their family, they also share some of it with the monks. So we would walk bare feet. And I had not walked bare feet. You know, I was not used to walking bare feet. So it was a new learning for me to walk bare feet through the city through the town and the village for like an hour and a half. We come back to our monastery. And whatever food we'd got, we would share with each other. And we ate one meal a day. So this was before intermittent fasting became popular. We were eating one meal a day. So 8 o'clock in the morning was the one meal of the day. And it's quite interesting, you know, it's quite healthy because most of the monks very rarely got sick. And it was not abnormal to hear of monks living between 100 and 110 years old. So I knew a lot of monks who were about 90 years old. There's something about a simple lifestyle where you walk a lot and you use your body, you know, you do your own, like, for example, we'd sweep and we'd clean. It was a pretty physical lifestyle. You would imagine we're meditating all day long, but it's not like that. You were cleaning, dusting, sweeping, meditating, everything. Even your meditation was also walking meditation sometimes. And we all had little huts like this. And sometimes we'd go into the deeper forest. So we'd live in interesting places like this. And some caves. So I lived in Thailand and Sri Lanka for about 6 years. My brother came to visit, so he took a few photographs while I was there. This is an umbrella tent, which opens out like this. This is how you live in the forest. So I practiced like this for about 6 years, between the age of 23 and 28. And then I decided to come back. That journey felt quite complete. I like how in Buddhism, there's no stigma about leaving. You can ordain and reordain up to 7 times, actually. So I often tell people, if you're bothering me too much, I'm going to become a monk again. So since then, I've been sharing some of the things I've learned in India and abroad, and with different groups, with organizations, with groups like yours, schools and colleges, and different groups. One of the important lessons for me is between stimulus and response is a gap. And this is where our wisdom lives. What is stimulus? What's happening? What people are saying and doing around you? What's response? Thoughts, words, and actions. And in between that, there's a gap. And why do we do these practices that I'm sharing? Like, for example, we did the practice of lotus of gratitude. Why are we doing this practice? It gives you access to the gap. When you meditate, when you take a nice morning walk, maybe some of you like praying, doing bhajan, doing mantra, right? When you do something kind for somebody else selflessly, that gives you access to the gap. And gap is where the wisdom is. So when you access the gap, you're not living on the surface of life. You're not as reactive anymore. Right? A nice way I like to describe this is the difference between a ball of glue and a ball of wool. A ball of glue, wherever you roll it, it'll pick up stuff. Like if I roll a ball of glue on the floor, it'll pick up all the dirt on the floor. With the pieces of paper, it'll pick it up. If I roll a ball of glue anywhere, it becomes bigger and bigger. It keeps accumulating stuff. But if I roll a ball of wool, what happens? It gets smaller and smaller. Every time I roll the ball of wool, wherever, like you might have seen a video of a little cat chasing a ball of wool. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And there comes a point when the cat gets very shocked. Why? The ball disappeared. Where did it go? Where did the ball go? Because there was actually never a ball. It was just a wool. So the idea of ball of glue is that you're living a reactive life and you're picking up more and more impressions. They shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that. Life shouldn't have done that. God shouldn't have done that. When you're living a very reactive life, you're like a ball of glue. And the Buddha calls this dukkha chakra. No matter what happens in life, your suffering only increases. You see, even positive, so-called positive things can increase suffering. Why? Attachment. You hold on so tight. This should not go away. This should not go away. This pleasant thing should not go away. The fear of losing the pleasant is also a kind of suffering. And in one of the scriptures, the Buddha said something very fascinating. Many of you will resonate with this. Buddha said, those who are not good looking, they have a kind of suffering. But even those who are good looking, they also have a kind of suffering. So you know this. Good looking people have a different kind of suffering. Sometimes they get unwanted attention. Sometimes they're expected to always look perfect. So good looking people are not allowed to have a single pimple anywhere. So even good looking people have their own kind of suffering. So the Buddha says even attachment to the pleasant can lead to suffering. So we want to shift from a life that is like a ball of glue, picking up more and more sanskaras, more and more impressions, to a ball of wool. What is ball of wool? You're emptying yourself. In fact, I wrote a book recently. It's called Unburden. So unburden is about the ball of wool, how to be a ball of wool. Whatever happens in your life, pleasant or unpleasant, how can you empty yourself of your predisposition towards clinging, towards aversion, and towards confusion? So the meaning of this is earlier stimulus, or I'm just going to use a simpler word, events. Earlier events would define you. Life events. Oh, I lost my father when I was young. Oh, our business had a problem. Oh, somebody betrayed us. Oh, there was a family issue. Oh, I was molested as a child. Oh, these events define us. If you're not careful, these events start defining you. Oh, I'm divorced. Oh, I would like to be divorced, but they're not granting me a divorce. These are all things that define you. So instead of events defining you, now events refine you. That's very beautiful. And I'm sure you admire some people in life. Chances are they've been through a lot, but they're not heavy. They've been through a lot, but their spirit is so bright. Like, oh my goodness, you're amazing. And you're inspired by them. That means for them, the events did not define them, they refined them. That's the kind of life you want to have. So for this, how do you access the gap? One of the most powerful things I know would be meditation. And of course, there are many kinds of meditation, but a very simple meditation is bring your attention to the present moment. So just do this with me. In the beginning, your eyes are open. Bring your attention to the present moment. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? And then with eyes open or closed, bring your attention to your breath. Be aware of how you feel your breath coming in and out. Eyes can be open or closed. When the mind wanders, come back to the breath. Notice whatever you're feeling. Bring your attention to what you're feeling. And just let your attention flow from top of the head all the way down. Notice what you're feeling in the body and try to not react to it. Try to just notice it. And now just come to your heart and just bring up good wishes. Think of your family or think of someone you love and just send them loving wishes, good wishes for the next minute or so. Loving wishes, good wishes. You can all take 3 deep breaths. And very slowly you can open your eyes. How wonderful. So we did a short meditation. It had a few simple parts to it. We began by being aware of what we are seeing and hearing and smelling, tasting, touching, just sensory experience. One of the fastest ways to come to the present moment is with your sensory experience. So be aware of your sensory experience. And then we were aware of our natural breath, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Your mind will wander, you bring it back. Your mind will wander, you bring it back. And the next thing we did is we just felt whatever we're feeling. What you're feeling is your subconscious mind. So to be aware of whatever you're feeling throughout the body and try not to react to it. Try not to, instead of reaction, we come to observation. We're shifting from reactivity to observation. This is how we shift from ball of glue to ball of wool. And finally, loving wishes, good wishes to everybody in our life, whoever we can think of. This would be a very simple meditation, and you can do it for 3-4 minutes. Like right now, we did it for about 4 or 5 minutes. You can do it for a little bit longer. You can do it 15-20 minutes longer. And if you want more guidance on meditation, just search for my YouTube channel, and there are over 150 guided meditations over there. And I'm sure you'll find something that's helping you over there. I also have a meditation course and thing, but just start with the free resources on YouTube. That's a good place to start. So this is a good thing to do at least once or twice a day. And you'll find you can access this gap that we spoke about, the gap between stimulus and response. And this is being happy for no reason, like a little child. A little deeper way to look at this is the power of 5. Call it 5 gears and 5 accelerations. So what are 5 gears? Attention out, attention in, attention on everything, attention on nothing, and attention on blessing. So what does it mean, attention out? Attention out means, let me just stop the notification. Yeah. So attention out is what you're seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, your sensory experience of attention out. Attention in is what you're feeling and your thoughts and your emotions. That would be attention in. Attention on everything is you just welcome whatever is happening in your experience. You see, concentration is exclusive attention and meditation is inclusive attention. Concentration is exclusive. Like if I only focus on your breath, that would be exclusive. and I say, welcome everything that comes into your awareness, that would be meditation. The meditation is actually agenda-less presence, not fixating on anything. So that's level 3, aware of everything. And the fourth one is, this is actually quite difficult to understand, but because it actually goes one step beyond understanding. It's called being aware of nothing. And what is it like to be aware of nothing? You ask yourself the question, what is it like to think of nothing? What is it like if I know nothing, if I have nothing, and if I am nothing? बस एक काम करो, खुद को खाली करो. If there's one important thing you can do in life, it is learn to empty yourself. Empty yourself. When you empty yourself, it's not like you become a zero. That zero actually allows you to be a channel of blessings. The more empty you are, the more of a channel you are of blessings, infinite blessings. And that's how the last one is blessings. So a practical way to bring meditation into your life is you practice the 5 gears of awareness. Attention out, what's happening outside. Attention in, welcoming everything. Emptying yourself, even momentarily, empty yourself. Bas ek kaam karo, khud ko khali karo. Empty yourself of yourself. Empty yourself of your agendas. For a little while, empty yourself of your identities. Empty yourself of your desires. Empty yourself of everything you know. It's a wonderful experience to empty yourself. It's like that child, like we talked about, the child, that empty, that shunya state. It's like that. And how do you accelerate this? You recognize it, you revisit it, you refine it, you rest, and you realize. What is recognize? Even for less than a second, you recognize, oh, be in the present. Even for a micro moment. That's called recognize. What is revisit? You come to it again and again and again. That's called revisit. What is refine? Even for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes in a day, you return to these 5 gears. What is rest? You do it in a way that you lose track of time. You're not sure, did 5 minutes go? Did half an hour go? Did 1 hour go? That's called rest. That's like a mini samadhi experience. And what is realize? As you do this again and again and again, you realize, what does it mean to be happy for no reason? What is it like to be fearless in this lifetime? And now great strength emerges from within us. 3 skills to master. In fact, there are 2. The third one is natural. It is the skill of attention, the skill of intention. Attention plus intention reveals our foundation. What is our foundation? Who we really are. So these are the 3 things, the 2 things that we practice. The third one is automatically revealed. This is a really nice happiness habit that I find very, very helpful. It's called Jinshin Jitsu. It's a Japanese method. And I want you all to practice it with me. So just take any hand and hold the thumb of that hand with the other hand. Hold the thumb. And I'm holding it up so you can see, but you can even hold it down. No problem. And just take 3 breaths here. And see if you can feel the pulse in your thumb. So don't hold it too loose. Don't hold it too tight. You might be able to feel the pulse, and that's nice. So holding the thumb reduces worry in the system. Now come to your index finger. Index finger. Same hand, index finger. And again, 3 breaths. You can close your eyes if you like. You feel the pulsing sensation, and then come on to your middle finger. And about 3 breaths per finger, come to your ring finger. And come to the little finger, pinky finger. And then just touch the middle of your palm and hold that for about three breaths. And continue on the other hand in the same way. I'll explain a little bit while you're doing it. So hold the thumb, 3 breaths. And what you're doing in the system is you're holding each finger for at least 3 breaths. Focus on it. It should feel comfortable. You should feel the breath. You should feel the pulsing sensation if you can. Holding the thumb reduces worry. Holding the index finger reduces fear. Holding the middle finger reduces anger. Holding the ring finger reduces sadness. And holding your little finger reduces trying too hard. When you feel inferiority complex, you end up trying too hard. That reduces that. And the middle of the palm balances out your whole body. So I would love for you to do this anytime in the day when you're not, like, for example, you're going in a car ride. You're not driving. You shouldn't be driving. Then you can just hold your fingers. Or you're sitting in a meeting. I don't know how many of you spend time on these Zoom meetings and things. So while the meeting is going on, you're not typing anything. Just hold your fingers. Like even the rest of the session, you can just keep holding any finger you particularly enjoyed holding. Maybe some of you enjoyed holding that ring finger. Maybe some of you enjoyed holding your index finger. Just hold that. Touch the middle of your palm. And you'll find you end up being much more relaxed during the day. How do you remember which finger is what? There's a nice formula. It's called, I know you're all muted, but just say aloud. End worry fast. So what does it mean? Worry is thumb and F-A-S-T. So fear, anger, sadness, and trying too hard. In the middle of the palm is, of course, everything. Be aware of your breath and your pulse. So it's a very deep system. It's much more than this, but this is the basic thing that you can all learn. And if you want to learn more, just go online and search for Jinshin Jutsu on YouTube. But this is a great start right here. Very profound system. This is something I really enjoy doing. We just talked about this a little while back. 3 gates of speech. Vak Shuddhi and Vak Siddhi. Is it true? Is it kind? And is it necessary or is it beneficial? Both of them are similar words. So when you speak, you check what I'm about to say. Is it really true? Is it really kind? Is it really beneficial? And only if it's true, kind, and necessary, then you should say it. Otherwise, you shouldn't say it. And of course, try not saying it, then try saying it, then see how it gets you in trouble, right? If you say what's not true again and again, if you say what's not kind again and again, if you say unnecessary things again and again. For each of us, we will have our own challenge. For some of us, we are very flexible with the truth. That's a habit. For some of us, we tend to say that, oh, it doesn't matter if I'm kind. As long as I tell the truth, it's fine. People should learn to bear the truth. But these same people struggle when other people are very blunt. They don't like it. They get very offended. So kindness is also important. And sometimes we suffer from a disease of idle chatter, talking, without even knowing what we are talking. Idle chatter. So the Buddha says, be careful. Idle chatter will reduce the power of your speech. You will lose out on Vak Shuddhi and Vak Siddhi. So say what is necessary, say what is valuable. There's a lovely phrase, Subhasita Chaya Vacha in Pali language. What does it mean? Subhasita Chaya Vacha, words which touch the heart. The Buddha says, better a few words that calm the heart, bring peace to the heart, than 1,000 words that don't. So for this, we have to practice, right? I'm sure we would all like to have the Siddhi when someone is upset and is troubled, and you say a few words and it calms their heart. That's a great Siddhi to have. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine, he's a monk, and he was giving a talk on Nepal National Radio and been giving a series of talks. And he became a little popular because his talks were well received. So one day, as he was leaving the radio station, a family came up to him and they said, we've been listening to you and we find your talks very inspiring, but we need your help. Our son is in his 20s. He's here with us. And he's lost his eyesight. And he's devastated. Our entire family is devastated. And we don't know how to console him. He's inconsolable. He's lost his eyesight. The young man was there. And this monk, he just said a few words. He said, yes, eyesight is impermanent. Eyesight is impermanent. And until then, people had been trying to tell him, oh, it's okay. You'll be fine. You'll find something. And, oh, we're so sorry for you. And none of that worked. But when he said eyesight is impermanent, suddenly this young boy realized, wow, it's true. Everybody loses their eyesight. I'm not the only one. It's a matter of time. Some lose it later. Eyesight, and eventually we will lose it when we die, right? Eyesight is not a forever thing. So eyesight is impermanent. Until then, he thought he'd been, life had cursed him. But then he realized eyesight is impermanent. Some people lose it faster, some people lose it later. So for the first time, his heart cooled down. He said, it's just the way it is. Eyesight is not permanent. It's a natural thing. That's an example of a few words that lead to peace. Better than 1,000 words. Another nice example is, during the Cuban Missile Crisis, this is the closest the world has come to World War III, nuclear holocaust, right? We've come closest at that time. So during this Cuban Missile Crisis, where there was a gridlock between American warships and Russian warships around Cuba, this is a true story. There was a Russian delegation that was visiting the US at the time. It was a business delegation. They had nothing to do with this war or close to a war. And the news came, while they were having the meeting, the news came that you're on the verge of a World War III. The US and Russia are on the verge of launching nuclear missiles at each other. So one man in the room had the presence of mind to say, everyone sit down. We will all go around and tell a joke each. What are you talking about? And this man is Russian. He said, let me tell you a joke. He says, the problem with capitalism is that man exploits man. In communism, it's the other way around. So everyone began laughing. And in that moment, they realized that why are we getting so caught up in this? And one by one in the room, they all went around telling a joke. And the entire atmosphere shifted. See, that's an example of skillful speech. Everybody in that room was so tense. Russians and Americans, they became so tense, there might be a war right now. So this man had the intelligence to do that. This is not a normal thing. This is between stimulus and response is a gap. That's where wisdom lives. He accessed the gap. If you want to live skillfully, if you want to live fearlessly, you have to learn how to access the gap between stimulus and response. Similarly with listening, PQR, remember this formula, PQR. What is PQR? Pause. When someone finishes speaking, pause. When you're very quick to react and respond, then people feel like you're not listening. So take a breath, pause. Nothing will happen. And then question, check your understanding. Is this what you're feeling? Is this what you're saying? Is this what you're wanting? Have I understood you? Very few people do this. And they'll tell you what you understood, what you didn't understand. And finally reflect, this is what I've understood. Of course, not every conversation you can do this, but even if 2-3 conversations in a day you do this, you pause, you question, you reflect, you will have much deeper connections with people around you. PQR. So with speech, you remember 3 gates of speech. Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? With listening, you remember PQR, pause and question and reflect. You have to come up with your own self-care practices. Only when you can take care of yourself, you can be. Have you noticed, like the days you exercise, the days you meditate, the days you go for a walk, you can take better care of your family and others. Have you noticed that? And the days you neglect taking care of yourself, you're much more reactive. In fact, there was a lady in Delhi. She used to attend my sessions. So one day I was giving a talk. So she came. She said, Nithya, I almost didn't come. I said, what happened? She said, no, my kids were alone at home. And I told them, Nithya's in town, but I'm not going. They said, Mom, why are you not going? They said, no, you're here alone. How can I leave you? They said, Mom, please go. She said, why? Don't you want me to be at home? They said, no, Mom, when you come back from Nithya's talk, you're a better mom. So that's an example of self-care for selfless care. You take good care of yourself, your whole family will benefit. This is enlightened self-interest. If a doctor says, I'm too busy as a doctor, no time to eat, no time to sleep, no time to enjoy myself, over a period of time, this will not be such a good doctor anymore. A doctor has to also take care of himself or herself, isn't it? So similarly, you also have to take good care of yourself, then you can take good care of the world. Isn't it true? So some mantras for you. No matter, keep saying, how wonderful. This is the way to have a GFD. What's a GFD? Gratitude-filled day. If you keep saying, how wonderful, how wonderful, how wonderful, in the beginning, it'll feel artificial, but soon it'll feel very natural. Just like we say thank you quite often, you start saying, how wonderful, how wonderful. So I'm going to give you a few examples. Just say how wonderful, right? So you find out that you wanted to go somewhere and your driver's missing. He's not even picking up his phone. Like, where's my driver gone? I need to go somewhere. I'm getting late for my meeting. So what do you say? How wonderful. Because getting more and more upset is not going to help anything, right? How wonderful. And either the driver will come or you'll take an Uber or you'll find a way, but you'll not lose your peace of mind over that. All right. So here's another one. You go to your children's room and the room is a gigantic mess. What do you say? How wonderful. What's wonderful about that? They're having a good time. And right now, some of you are shaking and say, no, I can't say that. But you see, a time will come when your kids go to college and their room will be so clean, you'll sit and cry in the room. So why is this room so clean? Because you'll miss the time when they were in the house, right? So like this, you start seeing every situation. I remember when I was teaching in the Northeast, and I said, suppose you, at the end of the month, you get a big electricity bill. What will you all say? So they all said, how wonderful, very loudly. I said, what's so wonderful? They said, sir, we know what you're trying to say, that electricity bill means we have many gadgets and appliances. But in this state of the country, if there's a big electricity bill, it means for this month, we did not have many power cuts. We're laughing. So in every situation, learn to say how wonderful. If you miss a flight, how wonderful. There was actually a case in Pune. I think I mentioned this in my book. This man, he was going to Bombay by a bus. And you know, there's at some point, the bus will stop for a little toilet break, a little snack break. So they stopped. This guy went to the toilet. He comes out and the bus is leaving without him. So he's shouting, stop, 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 stop. And the bus driver doesn't see. And the bus driver goes, he's so upset. My bus is gone. They didn't even count the number of people. And my bags are on the bus. He's very upset. But all his upset instantly vanishes when he hears 2 hours later, there was a big bus accident. And so many people died. It's a true story. So we should just go with the basic thumb rule that whatever is happening for our best. And we don't always know why it's the best. If you want two powerful tools for life, it is gratitude and reflection. Gratitude and reflection. What is gratitude? Be thankful for what's happening in your life. What is reflection? Go back and look. Sometimes what you thought was a terrible thing turned out to be for your benefit. Some deal fell through and you realize, oh my goodness, those people were not trustworthy, right? Or you didn't go to some college. You went to your second choice of a college, third choice of a college. But it turns out you made some wonderful friends over there. So like this, in every situation, we tell ourselves, a nice way of saying this is the way Harivansh Rai Bachchan says. He says, man chahi ho to acha, na ho to aur bhi acha. A very good way of remembering it. So you say, how wonderful, right? The other thing we say is cancel. Like I said, whenever you have a low quality thought, I'm not good enough, you're not good enough, life is not good enough. Then you say cancel, cancel. What is cancel? Cancel like an antivirus. Cancel is you telling yourself, I choose not to believe this thought. Cancel, cancel. Cancel is a CFD. Can any of you guess what CFD is? Just put in the chat, what is CFD? Let's see who gets it right. If you attended my session before, that would be cancelled for day. No, not cancelled for day. Try again. CFD, calm filling day. All right, getting closer. Complaint, yeah, you got it. But Ridhima, that's cheating. Ridhima attended my session before, so she's cheating. So it's a complaint-free day. CFD is a complaint-free day. So we want to have a complaint-free day, and we want to have a complaint-free life actually. But we start with a complaint-free day. So cancel, cancel. And then rule number 6, this is one of my favorites, rule number 6. Rule number 6 is don't take life so seriously. What does it mean? Remember to smile, remember to laugh. The things you cried about in school are the things you're laughing about now. Isn't it? You meet your old school friends, you laugh about those same times. So could it be the things you're crying about today? I meet you 10, 20, 30 years from now and we'll smile about it, we'll laugh about it. It's possible. Same thing. Like the things you're struggling with your kids right now. There may come a time when we laugh about these things. It can happen, right? That's rule number 6. And somebody asked, why rule number 6? What are the other rules? So we say there are no other rules. There are no other rules. And why is it called rule number 6? Don't take life so seriously. And that's an easy one to guess. What is JFD? Put in the chat, what's JFD? JFD is easy. That's right, joyful day. That's easy. Joyful day. Right, so those are some of the things I wanted to share. You can check out more on my website, nithyaShanti.com. Good. Let's open it up for some interaction.
Great. Thank you so much, Nithya, for that wonderful conversation and insights. I think the last 60 minutes have been so enlightening. There was such simple stuff which you spoke about, but so applicable. And we'll open the floor up for questions. So in case anybody would like to put up their questions in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask, or raise your hands and we'll unmute you and we can take it so that there's no chaos. I think there was a question before the session started. So I'll start with that. The question from Radhika. My question is, my thoughts wander everywhere. I imagine so many things, some good, some great, and some really catastrophic and deeply saddening. The negative thoughts sometimes are so powerful that they can move me to tears. I know these negative thoughts are just a figment of my imagination. How do I keep myself from thinking such negative thoughts and stay in the positive frame of mind?
Very nice. Beautiful question. So first of all, don't be afraid of, the first thing is take away the fear, right? Take away the fear of negative thoughts. If you go into an ocean, you've seen there are small waves and there are big waves, right? So one fear we have is, oh my God, I'm thinking negative. Something terrible will happen. We've heard about law of attraction. Oh my goodness, I'm thinking negative. Something terrible is going to happen. I shouldn't think that. I shouldn't think that. So first you thought that. Then you felt guilty for thinking that. Then you felt guilty for feeling guilty. You're going deeper and deeper into this. So my teacher told me, if you practice loving thoughts for just 5 minutes in a day, like maybe the whole day you were negative, but for 5 minutes in a day, you say, okay, may everybody be happy. Sabka mangal ho, sabka mangal ho, sabka bala ho. He said those 5 minutes will wipe out the slate of all the other thoughts. Because coherent thoughts are much more powerful than incoherent thoughts. So like in an ocean, one big wave swallows up a million small waves. So first of all, take out your fear of, it's true, law of attraction is true. However, it takes years and years of so-called negative thinking before you can have a negative outcome. So you shouldn't be afraid of it. First of all, take that out. Today you've learned a tool, cancel. Whenever you catch yourself, now people who have a lot of negative thoughts will get irritated with me. Nithya, kya sikha diya? Ab subah se sham tak cancel hi kar rahe hain. Subah se utke sham tak cancel hi kar rahe hain. But don't get disheartened, because in my experience, in 30 to 45 days, your level of canceling will come down. Maybe you're saying cancel 100 times a day, then it'll come down to 50 times a day, it'll come down to 10 times a day. And then now once in a while, you'll say cancel. Once or twice a day, you'll say cancel. But the trickier one, I'll tell you, the easier one is to catch yourself verbally complaining. The trickier one is to catch yourself mentally complaining. And for that, we have to practice mindfulness, awareness. So like this, so start with small things. Maybe you prepare tea in the morning. Maybe you make the bed in the morning. So just make a decision while I'm brushing my teeth, while I'm making the bed. When I'm making the bed, I will not think of anything except making the bed. When I'm making the tea, I will enjoy shaving that ginger. I will enjoy, making sure all the pots and pans are out there. Like make it a small meditation. Meditation is not just closing your eyes and doing stuff. You can have a meditative approach to anything. So for example, today, how about today, before you sleep today, one conversation you listen to meditatively. What is it meditatively? Not only are you listening to what they're saying, PQR, remember PQR, you pause. That takes mindfulness. When they finish speaking, don't jump in. Pause. Sometimes they haven't even finished speaking. They want to say a little bit more. They're just catching their breath. So let there be a little space. You'll find the conversation goes deeper when you pause. When instead of offering your opinion, you question, is this what you're feeling? Is this what you're wanting? Tell me more about that. And then you reflect, this is what I've understood. Have I understood you? The other person will also be surprised. Wow, you're really making an effort to listen. That can be a meditation. And then, of course, today we learned one or two simple meditations. You can go to my website and learn more meditations. So ultimately, the only real way to get beyond the dichotomy of positive and negative thinking is awareness. Until then, you will remain bouncing from positive, negative, because you're remaining at the mind level. And as long as your mind is thinking, it'll bounce between positive and negative and positive and negative. And we are all biologically predisposed to highlight the negative. Has it ever happened to you? A lot of people praise you, you like it. One person criticizes you. Oh my goodness, it just sticks. It's going on, bouncing. How could this person say this? How could this person say this? Maybe you have maybe some friends came to your house. Everyone appreciated your cooking, appreciated your home. One person said, "Acha, ye painting to badi, ye painting doesn't match your decor." You remember that one comment? How can you say that painting doesn't match the decor? Everything else you forgot, all the praise you forgot. We are biologically predisposed to highlight the negative. So then we should make an effort to strengthen this. Also, for some of you, simple mantra meditation might help. Mantra could be any favorite mantra like Om Namah Shivaya, or it could be a simple English word like peace, peace, peace. And there's a wonderful practice called centering prayer. Like, for example, you take the word peace and you mentally repeat the word peace, peace, peace. And you make it quieter and quieter. Peace, peace, peace. And actually silence. And at some point, the thoughts will again start. No problem, again start peace, 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 peace. And you reduce the volume of the peace until it becomes silent again. And choose any word you like. Could be a Hindi word, could be Shanti, right? Could be Anand, could be any word, or could be a mantra. So for many people who have very noisy brains, this kind of meditation or breath meditation, especially in the beginning, counting your breaths can help. So my teacher told me, count from 1 to 10, breathing in 1, breathing out 1, breathing in 2, breathing out 2, all the way till 10. Second time, count till 9. Third time, count till 8. You got to be very alert. Count till 7, count till 6, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, do 3 sets of this. So these simple meditations, in the beginning, if you have a very noisy brain, this can help. You've got to be a little patient. You're overturning a very deep habit pattern. But be patient and everyone can come out of this. This is not impossible to come out of. Saloni has been raising a hand. Should we go to Saloni?
Yes.
Hi. Thank you, Kanika, for the lovely session. And thank you, Aarti. And hello, Nithya. I heard you first in Vizag, and it has been a pleasure hearing you all the time. I never missed your session. They are really very nice, and you take home something with that. But my question is, sometimes unconsciously,
maybe you have a very, very developed intuition that it's, in your case, you're able to have a premonition quite often. That's a kind of a gift that you have.
They are really, no, but nothing good. If it is good, then I would say, oh, but like something I find it very uncanny. Sometimes I feel that, like I recently, two people were admitted in the hospital. One was aged and the other was so young. And it just came to mind so many times. It happens that the young one goes. And it happened. And, I was really worried. I said, how come all these thoughts come to you?
It can happen. And I think you just have a developed third eye of some kind. And so you have this premonition. But I would just say, if it's bothering you, then you make a prayer and you say, may only things be revealed to me that can be of some benefit to others. You make that kind of a sankalpa. May only things be revealed to me that will be of benefit to me or somebody else. And if it's not of any benefit, then I don't want that information. You make a sankalpa like that, those things will stop happening.
Okay, thank you so much. It was really worrying me. I said, why is it happening with me? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Saloni-ji. Everyone else, please feel free to put up your questions in the chat box. Nithya, while we are getting questions, I have a question for you. How in Hinduism we were taught about 4 ashramas, right? Your brahmacharya, grihastha, vanasprata, and sannyasa. And you spoke a lot about detachment. And while a lot of us joining in today are in the grihastha ashrama, where we're trying to form a family, your careers, you're trying to get attached to things. So, we've been taught to do detachment in that later part of our life. And the more such sessions we hear, there's a common theme about emptiness and detaching yourselves from now itself. What are your thoughts on this? Like, what are your thoughts on ambition and getting attached, especially for all of us who are in that phase of getting attached right now, right?
Yeah. Well, Aarti, the laws of nature don't change based on the ashramas, right? So I would say don't be detached. First of all, I don't use the word detachment so much. To me, it's about detached enjoyment. Like, for example, what is detached enjoyment? I can enjoy your company. I can enjoy this interaction. Maybe you can also enjoy it. But I know it's going to end, right? I know that the session will not go on forever. In 5, 10, 15 minutes, at some point, it's going to end. The session is going to end. Detached enjoyment is that, oh my God, it's ending, it shouldn't end, it shouldn't end. So there is no phase in your life where attachment will be of any value to you. Because what is attachment? Attachment is holding on tight. In a universe where everything is changing, holding on tight can never benefit you. So yes, you can have like there are, we said there are 4 kinds of happiness. So yeah, we're not, it's legitimate. You may have desires, you may have wants. Some of the desires you only have to go through. There is no other way. No amount of detachment, wisdom, Gita, none, you have to just go through it. If you have to go through it, you have to go through it. But some of them, just by deeper thinking, you can say, actually, I don't need to do that. I don't need to prove anything to anybody, right? So to the extent your wisdom is developed, you don't need to go through everything. But to some extent, we have to go through something. You just have to go. There's no other way out. Prarabdha, it's called. You just have to go through it. There's no other way. So the laws of nature don't change based on the ashrama. All that changes is the role. So in the brahmacharya ashram, your role is of a student. So they say, okay, don't get too distracted. Focus on learning, focus on studying, focus on learning about yourself. In Indian tradition, education was not only about livelihood. Education was also about self-knowledge. That part is almost completely gone now, right? So there's also a big element of know thyself, understand the laws of nature, and of course, learn various skills that will help you in your livelihood. Then the grihastha ashram is, you have a role of a husband, a wife, you have children, you fulfill your role, but there's still detachment. If you get too hung up, you get too attached, then what is attachment? Attachment comes with expectation. You should be like this, you shouldn't be like this. Very strong notions. So the laws of nature don't change based on the ashramas. Then in vanaprastha, you want to step back and let your children take over and not be like, at some point, have a graceful exit. Right? Start stepping back, give them a chance to now learn and grow. And finally, in sannyasa, you will completely step back. It is a wonderful thing. It is actually very blissful to focus completely on self-knowledge and self-realization. So it's a balance of self-actualization and self-realization. And I don't see any contradiction. Like I'm right now, you could say I'm in grihastha ashram. I do everything. I travel. I have fun, and at the same time, I'm not overly hung up on things. So this wisdom applies very much to our lives.
How true! Like, you know, I love the concept of being detached in every aspect of your life. I know it's very difficult to do that.
It's actually more difficult to be attached. It's fun to be somewhat detached. Like, for example, I like games. One of my hobbies is board games. Yeah. And when I'm playing a board game, some of you have actually Ridhima played with me in the past. When we play a board game, then I give it. I'm not a slouch. But if I lose, I'm not going to get grumpy about it. I may get grumpy for 1 or 2 minutes. But
what's your favorite board game?
So in other words, when you're playing the game, give it everything you've got. But remember, it's a game, right? So like whether it's business, or whether it's family, or whether it's trying to get your kids into a good college, give it everything you've got. But don't let your happiness revolve around that. That would be a big mistake. That is when you've gone too far. Give it your best. So man chahi ho to acha, na ho to aur bhi acha. Why? We trust that there's a larger intelligence that's guiding us, guiding our family, guiding our community, guiding this world. Nothing's out of place. And that's how we can have detachment from the outcome.
That's really insightful. You know, I'll remember that. Man chahe to acha, na ho to aur bhi acha. Very profound and insightful. I think we have another question about how to focus on manifestations through meditation.
Yeah. So this is a very good question. When you meditate, your mind is becoming like a still, calm lake. May not become perfectly still in the beginning, but at least calmer and stiller. Now, if you may have noticed, if there's a big storm, the waves are all over the lake. Then anything you throw in the lake doesn't have much of a ripple. But if it's very calm, you even put a small blade of grass, clear ripple goes till the edge of the lake. So your manifestations will be far more powerful if they're coming from a relatively calm mind. So which is why at the end of meditation, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever length of time you meditate, from that calmer, more settled place, when you have a sankalpa, an intention, May I be happy. May my family be happy. May I succeed in my work. May I be able to learn a certain skill. May I be able to have a certain kind of life. That makes a very deep impression on your subconscious mind, which is actually the universal mind. So remember that you end that also with detachment. How do we end with? I like to say, this or something better will happen at the right time for the benefit of all. In other words, I don't always know what's best for me, right? So if this is best for me, may this happen. This or something better will happen for the benefit of all. This is called a kind of detachment in your intention. So this is how at the end of your meditation, when you're somewhat calmer, then you can practice a visualization, you can practice an affirmation, you can practice a prayer, you can have a sankalpa, an intention. It'll be multiple times much more powerful than just at a busy time of your day, just making an intention. Because you're accessing deeper parts of your mind. That's all it is. Or maybe another good one is before sleeping. Like a good practice taught by many management thinkers is, you plan the next day the night before. So you say, what are the major things happening tomorrow? Oh, I have this meeting, I have to meet this friend, this has to happen. And what's the BPO, best possible outcome for the day ahead? I want to wake up, I want to exercise in the morning, I want to go for a walk, I want to do some spiritual reading, I want to read some inspiring book. I want to spend at least 1 hour on myself before I get into the day. You make that sankalpa, what will happen the rest of the day? And you sleep with that. And that's another way of programming your subconscious mind. Chances are it'll happen in a much nicer way.
Yeah,
so like this, meditation will help in the manifestation.
Absolutely. I think that the one which you said, I've practiced that one with sleeping, thinking about the next day, sleeping before you sleep the previous day. And that's very, very helpful. And Nithya, we have another question from Vijaya. You said something about being happy for no reason. One feels that, but it's temporary. That feeling doesn't last long. And how can one make this permanent?
Yeah, very good. That actually is permanent, but we don't know how to sustain that because we get caught up in the surface again. It's like, a good example is when you're watching a movie. Actually, the screen is permanent. The screen is not going anywhere, but it appears like this is happening, that is happening, a bus is coming, accident is happening, an actor is doing this and that, because we get caught up in the images. We forget that there's a screen where nothing is happening. So in meditation or in self-inquiry or any deeper spiritual practice, you will get a taste of that sky-like, screen-like, mirror-like essence of yours, which is untouched by anything. It is untouched by comings and goings. It is actually even untouched by birth and death. This is your soul level wisdom. That is called happiness for no reason. But of course, then we get caught up again. Oh, this person said this and I should have to do this and I haven't finished this. So little by little, as you practice, in the beginning, these things have very strong hold on us, magnetism on us. But little by little, as you go along, they start to become more and more transparent. And you're able to not get so affected by the happenings. So how do you practice it? How do you make it more permanent? The simple answer is short moments of resting in clarity, repeated many times. What does it mean, short moments? Short moments of just stop. So right now, all of you, just for 2 seconds, stop thinking. You tasted happiness for no reason. Again, for 2 seconds, stop thinking. When you stop thinking, you're suddenly aware. You're aware of what you're hearing. You're aware of where you are. Right? This is happiness for no reason. So short moments of resting in clarity. What is resting in clarity? Just stop, pause thinking. We can, no matter how busy you think your brain is, you can pause thinking for 2 seconds. Pause thinking and do this many, 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 many times a day. And this starts to become continuous. You start realizing, actually, it is happiness for no reason is your birthright. It is permanent. But of course, we get this, we lose track of it. So like that, you begin to access it. And little by little, that inner true nature of yours starts to reveal itself. You should remember that behind every problem is some possibility. Behind every possibility is joy. Behind every joy is this present moment. And behind this present moment is your true nature. Your true nature is hiding behind all the other things I just said. So all of these are coverings. So you uncover, which is why my book is called Unburden, right? You uncover, you unburden, you uncover, you unburden, you uncover, you unburden to reveal who you really are. Who are you really? My name has a clue, Nithya Shanti. Nithya means unchanging and Shanti means peace. Your true nature is unchanging peace. It is happiness for no reason.
Wow, happiness for no reason. Let's all try and achieve that. And I love that part where you said just stop for 2 seconds, because I normally try and do it for 10 minutes and it feels too much. But no, 2 seconds. Yeah, 2
Do
seconds.
2 seconds.
Do that,
2 seconds many times. Someone's asking how to stop thinking for 2 seconds, how to pause thinking. Just become aware. Like right now, become acutely aware of what you're hearing. Just try this, everyone. 5 seconds. Acutely aware of everything you're hearing. In order to be acutely aware of what you're hearing, you have to have a measure of inner silence. If you were inwardly thinking of something, where is my Amazon delivery? You could not think of, you could not focus on what you were hearing. So there had to be a measure of inner stillness, silence. Everything, nothing, and blessings. And this is how you develop your attention and intention to reveal your foundation.
Super. I think the next question is from Kanika. Kanika, would you like to unmute yourself?
And thank you so much for this session, Nithya. It was truly, it's so interesting. I couldn't feel that 60 minutes have gone by in just like, it was just truly amazing. And my take back from you is it's really like we need to be grateful and we need to reflect on what we are doing now. I'm really thankful to you for that. All my questions have been actually answered, what I thought of.
So nice. Lovely. Thank you, Kanika. Thank you for having me.
The PQR formula is wonderful as well, Nithya. I think that's a great takeaway, like, you know, and just any last questions do we have from the audience, or we can ask Nithya to share few last pieces of wisdom, especially Nithya. I know you shared a lot, but maybe something for raising happy kids, you know, we're all that's a difficult one these days. You know, you have like pre-teens and teens complaining of like mood swings and depression and stuff like that. So maybe something
well, the short answer to that is that you focus on your own. The short answer is that you cannot expect to raise happy kids while being anxious yourself. You think that by getting anxious, oh, you should study, oh, you should, what's going to happen? That doesn't work. If you want to raise happy kids, you better learn to be happy first. So number one, you focus on yourself. The deeper answer to that would be, I say there are 3 things, 3 dharmas for parents. What is one? Accept your children exactly the way they are. Step 1. Don't even compare them to the sibling. Don't even compare them to the neighbors. Don't even compare them to anybody. Accept them because they are a unique creation. Don't compare them to yourself. Oh, when I was young. No, they're different. They're not the same as when you were. And life is different from the way when you were young. So don't give that kind of advice. So accept them exactly the way they are. Step 1. Step 2 is see in them a greater potential than even they see in themselves. See in them a genius. And if you're not sure what it is, just say there is a genius in you. I don't know what it is yet, but inwardly say there is some genius in you. It will come out at the right time. Because there is not a single child in this world who's born without genius. You know, we are all coming deep down. We are the creator. Deep down, what is the Indian spirituality saying? Tattvam asi, I am that. I am that. Koham, soham, I am that. So basically, we are a little microcosm of God. We are a little micro part of God, right? So every single child, without exception, has got a genius in them. But there are very few who have the privilege of a grown-up or an elder or a guide who sees that genius in them. The reason we have a guru is the guru sees, you know, there's a nice full form for guru in English. How do you spell guru? G-U-R-U. So what does it mean? G-U-R-U. It's like, oh my goodness, you are you. You are the way you are. So to see the goodness in someone, to see the beauty in someone, to see the divinity in someone, that's the purpose of a guru. That's the purpose of a parent. So your second dharma as a parent is you see something greater, higher, more wonderful in them. And you say, I believe in, no matter what your teachers say. There's a fun story about Thomas Edison. He came back from school one day carrying a note. His teacher had sent him home from school. And the mother read out the note. She said, your teacher is saying that you are super exceptional. You are such a genius that they don't know how to, that you deserve a better school. That basically they don't have teachers good enough for you. And they've asked you to study from better teachers. And she put the note away. And she began training the kid herself. Years later, he pulled out that note and it said, your child is dumb. Your child is stupid. We are sending him home. We cannot handle this dumb child. And the mother refused to read that to her child. She said, they're saying you're too smart for the school. And he began crying. This is a story from Thomas Edison's life. So do not believe what the teachers say. You have to tell your, doesn't matter what these teachers, by the way, and no disrespect to anybody, but please think in India, after every other job is taken, you become a teacher, right? So do not expect very greatness to come out of teachers most of the time. Don't take their word for it. You see the best in your children. That's second dharma of yours. And third dharma of yours is to never give up. No matter how many times they disappoint you, no matter how many times they prove you wrong, you got to keep on believing in them. If you do these three things, you have fulfilled your dharma as a parent. You accept them exactly the way they are. Like you accept yourself exactly the way you are. Remember in the beginning we said, dear Nithya, no matter, just for today, what if there's nothing wrong with you? So in your mind also you say there's nothing wrong with my child, no matter what the world says. I accept my child exactly the way he or she is. I see in them a great genius. The mother of the Kennedys would tell her children every morning, she'd tell them, now better behave yourself. You'll be world leaders one day. She had 8 children. She tell them, now better behave like world leaders. You're going to be world leaders one day. They became world leaders. Many of her kids became world leaders. But that's not the best intention because some of them got assassinated. So better than saying you'll be a world leader one day, say that you will have a genius. You have a genius and that's going to make a powerful impact in the world. And I don't know what it is yet, but you will discover it. If you say that often enough, sankalp shakti, it becomes true. Yatha drishti tatha shrishti. Jaise dekhenge, waise fine. And finally, never give up. That's the way you bring up joyful, beautiful kids in the world.
Wow, so profound and yet so simple. Like, Nithya, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. This has been a personal favorite session. I've always been a big fan of your teachings and learnings, but today's session was very, very special. So really, thank you so much and appreciate you accepting our invitation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Would you like to end with the Mayurma? This is a symbol behind me.
I just wanted to ask.
You're going to say that? Yeah, it's a symbol of infinite love.
Just ask, what is that exactly?
We actually draw this with our hands. So just do this with me. Everyone take your hands up. And slowly bring them down and make a big heart in the air. And then put one palm on top of the other. And we're going to make a lying down 8 3 times. So first is a small one. Second is bigger. And third is huge. It's an infinity symbol. Come back to your heart and say with me, Mayurma. And Mayurma means loving wishes for all, good wishes for all. So we just made a heart and we multiplied it by infinity 3 times. And this is a symbol of infinite love. So you can make this in your day. You can make it 3 times in the morning. One for yourself, one for your family, one for the world. And if you're too lazy to move your hand, just take 2 fingers, make a mini Mayurma. 3 times. And you say, Mayurma.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you, Nithya. I would like to invite Shruti Junjunwala to propose a vote of thanks, please.
Thank you. Today was indeed a magical session, actually. I'm sure all the simple exercises that you've taught us are going to have like a deep and everlasting impact on all the listeners today. So sincere thanks to Nithya Shanti, Padmaji Iyer, and the entire team. Nithya, thank you so much. And my sincere gratitude to our chairperson, Kanika Ved, our past chair, Dr. Aarti Gupta, for conducting the event with such grace. And thank you to the GB members, the past chairs, and our members for joining in. Without their support, the event would have been incomplete. And last but not the least, our annual sponsors, Eris Life Sciences and Premanjali Foundation, for their sponsorship. Thank you so much, everyone.
Great. Thank you, Shruti.
Thank you.
Hearing all of Nithya's thing, I forgot about the green certificate. Can I invite our chapter chairperson to please give out a green certificate to Nithya? Nithya, I'm not sure if you're aware of green certificates, but at Flow, we believe in honoring our guests by planting a tree in your name.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. And so Kanika, would you please?
Yeah, so we have planted a tree in your name in Sundarbans. And you can, track the growth of your tree with the certificate number given on this certificate.
Oh, lovely.
And
that's wonderful.
Only remember Flow Kanpur, because we are really going to remember you for all your teachings. And
so nice. Let's all go together to Sundarbans and visit the tree at some point.
Wow. Absolutely. Looking forward to that.
Take care, everyone. Have a lovely evening. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.